Next up, we're going to draw a circle on the screen, and we're going to have a look at how straightforward that is. Okay, to draw a circle, it's made up of two parts. You have a center to the circle, and then you have a radius. So very, very simply, let's go and just get a circle. So center, let's say that we're going to place it, I don't know, we need a point here in order for a circle to work. I can't just put a single number in here. Now this is going to look complicated if I write it straight in, but I first of all need a point, which is going to be the center. Let's say I make it 100, 100, right? Look at the brackets and the commas. Then, secondly, I'm going to say the radius. Let's say the radius is 100. Okay, then, like I've done before, just so you can see, I'm going to ask it to draw onto that screen. So, that's what it takes to draw. Let's have a look, see what it looks like. There we go. There is a circle. You notice a bit squeezed up, so why don't we shift that along a bit. Let's make it 200, 200 for our starting point. Pause the video if this is going too fast. The whole point of using video material is that you can pause. Let's run it. There you go. There's a bit of a better location. Right, if I change the radius, what you will notice is that it will shrink it and grow it. So a very nice little trick here is to create a little loop, right? Let's say the radius is goes from 0 to 100, okay? And we're going to use this letter here for radius. I'm going to use a little r here, right? So instead of drawing a circle there, right, I'm going to draw the circle inside the loop. So I need a colon, and I get my circle code. I'm going to always position it in the middle, but instead of 100 radius, I'm going to pick it dynamically from this number here. So this range is going to, if you remember how a loop works, starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's comment this out. So, but the problem is, if I draw that, what you'll notice, it'll have 100 circles all growing. So let's have a look what happens when we run it. I don't know if you could actually see it, but that is 100 circles, all with increasing radius. It's much more interesting to see it. So do you remember? There is a tool called time, and you can get a sleep function out of it, so you can actually watch this happen. So if you go time.sleep, give it a tiny little interval, 0, 2, right? So it will run that distance. The other problem here, do you remember, is that it will just do it when you open the window up. Now that might be fine when you're doing it, but for me to demonstrate it to you, I just want to put a pause in here, so I can move it into screen so you can see. So you don't have to worry about doing the pause yourself. That's just for me to demonstrate it to you. Let's run it now. There, see, it's appeared halfway up the screen. I'll click it. Watch this. It is drawing a circle, one, whatever the distance is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 100. And it's quite a neat effect, isn't it? It looks quite impressive, right? So that is as easy as you want it to be. There are other really clever tricks you can do with this, but we won't worry about that. What else can you do with a circle? You can draw it, you can set its width, you can move it, you can actually fill it. So that would be quite interesting as well, but I'll let you play with that, and you can ask it for its radius. What I would ask you to do is go through the worksheet and look at the other things you can pull out from it and get from it. Okay, but that gives you a really good and clear idea of a circle. Perhaps the most important thing you need to be able to do after this rather fancy trick is to draw a circle and fill it. Okay, and so let's do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at adding text labels into this. Bear with me a second. Yeah, I'm looking at the worksheet. Okay, let's just draw a circle wherever I click my mouse and fill it with, let's write it in some instructions here. Let's say we're going to draw a circle from a mouse click. and fill it with a colour. Okay, let's have a go at that. Stay in the same video. First of all, let's hold on to a circle object, but before we do that, let's build it up in stages. Okay, first of all, we need a center point. So if I define a hook into a point, which is always going to be fixed, we said 200, 200. Remember, if you can remember, there was a clever way of finding the width of the window and using that. Welcome to try that in this video. So I've got a point. I want a radius. I'll call it R. Let's set that to 100. Okay, so there's a point and there's a radius. So what I want to do is actually draw a circle using my point and using my radius. Right, so let's just test that works before we move on, if that all those bits, pieces works. Bear with me a second. No, nothing is screen. Why does nothing appear on screen? Classically, I forget to draw it. Right, same problem, same obvious question. Let's run it again. And I click my screen. I don't think you saw that, so I'll show you again. Let's run it again. I just simply, because after my pause, it's waiting for me to click, then it will draw it on screen. Bear with me a second. So let's try a couple of basic features with a circle. I'll set you a couple of challenges. Can you use a button click to position this? Look at this. This gives the initial positions on the code here. Can you use a button click to do that? Now, we've done that in previous lessons. It's worth going back and trying to work that problem out. Let's see if we can fill this. Can we fill this particular circle with a certain color? Let's have a look what we have available. We've got set, fill, nice and simple word. And if you put speech marks in here, I think you can just type a color in. So we put red. And the advantage of showing you through this environment, if I just drag that over there so you can see it click, it's red. Red circle, nice and easy, 3 lines of code. A lot of these graphics things, once you get your head around them in individual pieces, are quite straightforward. And you need to learn to just get the individual concepts clear, and then you can start doing more interesting and complex stuff from it. But always ask yourself the concept, so what? Just to wrap up this video, I'm going to pause the video and write a few lines of code to show you what it would look like if you used a mouse click to locate that circle. Okay, so let me just point out what I've added in. I've got my mouse click info. I've used mclick info because I'm being lazy. This, as soon as you draw the window, it's going to say, when you click the window with your mouse, give me all that info. I'm going to drag it out of that info where you click, the X position, pop it into a variable. Same thing with the Y position, click it into there. And I'm going to pass them to my point. It's that point which works as the center of the circle. And it's going to draw it red. So let's just run that and see whether that works as we expect. So let's drag the screen over here. Let's click it down here. Oh, works. Let's do this a few times, actually. It'd be quite interesting to grab all this code that I've just done. This is often a useful thing to be able to repeat stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all that code, right, that I've got there, and I'm going to stick it in a loop, and we're going to do this 4 or 5 times. So if I go for I equals range, say 4, right? So that'll do 3 times, put a colon there. Now all of that code will be repeated. So in theory, I should be able to click this several times. Let's see whether this is happy with it. No, it isn't. What have I done wrong here? It should be in. I like making mistakes in videos so you can see. Okay, let's run it now. Let's see what happens. Click, 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 click. And there were the times it went round there. Have a look at what I've done. I've just taken a single bit of code, I tabbed it all across and stuck it in a loop. So for 4 times, which allowed me, now I wonder if this will work, whether I can actually use a number. Now I'm going to see whether this will actually give me anything sensible. Let's run it one more time, drag it into here, click. Oh, it didn't like that at all. Not quite sure what I did. Let's say we add that to 100. 100 plus I. Let's see, instead of a letter, a name, let's put a number in for a color. Often numbers are represented by colors. No, didn't.